Hello everybody, it is me, Game Penguin 21, and today, if I sound a little bit hoarse or something, it's because I'm recording this kind of early in the morning, and I'm a little bit tired today. But overall, I wanted to get this video out there because, of course, gotta get back on that good old grind. So, with the last stream and the amount of actual other stuff down the drain, we're gonna go back to our normal everyday scheduling program. That is one stream a week for Sunday on single player Sundays. So there you go. That'll probably also announce it on the actual Sunday stream. So yeah, don't expect anything Thursday unless it's another video. But we'll get to that at the end of this video because I have a little bit of announcements to make. With all that being said, let's get started. So what are we talking about today, actually? Well, we are talking about the Halo news that has been surrounding Halo for the past couple of weeks. They're going to get a little bit political, but I'm going to only say that at the very end, because the bigger of the two news, at least the bigger news that I care about, is that apparently the campaign for Halo 1, or at least I think the campaign for Halo 1, is going to be both remastered as well as going to be, well, put onto PlayStation. Quite interesting. I'll get into a little bit of the news for it, and then we will talk about it. But without further ado, if you like what it is that I do, and from any other way, shape, or form, other than like and subscribe, which always enough links down to everything in the description below. I do also make music and do other things, so please do follow all of that stuff in the description down below. I do stream every Sunday at 12 p.m. EST. That is my single-player Sunday stream. Come on by, say hi, we'll have a good time. I also do stream it on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/GamePenguin21. But, yeah. With all that being said, what actually ended up happening here? Well, number one, the trailer for the remake came out on a various amounts of platforms, but the more interesting one of all of this was actually that it was tweeted out by the official PlayStation account. That is right. Master Chief comes to PlayStation. Halo Combat Evolved launches on PS5 next year, rebuilt and modernized with 2-player local co-op and 4-player online co-op. Now, this has had a ton of weirdness and backlash and stuff. From the looks of it, people are upset about several different things, mainly in the fact that the modernized thing for PlayStation, or the modernized language that is being used, a lot of people are a little bit upset about that. But again, the specific salt is other stuff there. For my personal opinion, this is not great, but I mean, it looks better than it did before, even though I think that the first game actually looked way cooler, because I did play a fair bit of the first game, because I do distinctly remember that we had these LAN parties back in school. So overall, I am a little bit upset about the whole modernization of it, but not upset to get like as angry as other people. There are other things that people are talking about here, things such as like there is sprinting and redoing of specific guns that weren't in this first game, and the balancing aspect of all of this, where they're trying to, quote, modernize and make the game good. And I think one of the big ones has been an actual ammo counter on the Needler, which, strange choice, despite the fact that the Needler has an ammo counter. It's literally the top of the gun. So, I don't know. But anyway, let's get into some of these retweets, replies, and other stuff. Let's get going. First of all, we have with Sir VR Wings, or silly, the Wings here, with never in a million years did I expect to see PlayStation tweet out that Chief is coming to PlayStation. What a timeline are we in? Very shocked looking gif there. Yeah, absolutely. I never expected this as well, but again, with the way that Xbox has been going, this has been one of the big things that people were saying, oh yeah, it's been kind of inevitable. Same thing with PlayStation bringing their games over to other platforms. So, you know, it just kind of makes some interesting sense here. Next up here is we have Gons with Microsoft these past few weeks saying, keep my effing girl, bro, I don't even care anymore. Where, again, this seems to be one of the going on themes of Xbox being a cock. I'm not going to say that word again, because there's going to be enough of these sort of memes as is. If you don't know what that is, this is an adult channel. Ask your parents. but don't really. So, Phil Egenbrocht says, and so the console wars have ended, and we shall have peace with it. I think the console wars ended a while ago. While yes, the console wars themselves have been raging on because of, well, specifically the fanboys, I think that the console wars ended a fair bit ago. Mainly because of a lot of things that seem to be just kind of Xbox's fault. Because apparently PlayStation wins the console war because they still kept their identity and stuff. And that's one of the big things with Xbox that has been also very criticized about them. But that's probably something that I will save for another time. Next up here, we have a Jux with PlayStation has a monopoly on the market. Now goodbye, console gaming. I find it interesting how people say that, oh yeah, PlayStation has a monopoly, quote-unquote, on the console market. Which I guess in some cases is a bit true, but is also not a bit true. But it's very weird. I mean, again, Xbox is still around, and they're still most likely going to be making one more console before they decide what to do going forward. So there is that. Again, a lot of people looking at this being like, oh, well, they have a monopoly. It's all just PlayStation now. It's like, okay. I mean, again, that's not necessarily true because it's been proven that that's not how that happens. Plus, Xbox has just been not doing too well since the Xbox One era. I mean, Xbox 360 was pretty good. The Xbox One and the Xbox Series and stuff has all been kind of just... So, that's why I left console gaming a fair amount of times. Trey here with a how does it feel to win the console war with another Sony wins thing. Again, why is it this that like people being like, oh, Sony wins the console war because they kept they keep all of their exclusives and stuff, even though the fact that they haven't kept all of their exclusives. In fact, one of the exclusives that is currently being, or one of the quote-unquote exclusives that is currently being used in this meme is no longer an exclusive because both of those games are actually available now on PC. So, you know, it's kind of weird there. But again, looking at some of the quote-unquote exclusives and things there being like, oh, well, you know, why don't you go out and buy a PlayStation and get all the exclusives? Because I don't care about console gaming or any of that stuff. I mean, PC gaming is, I know what I said earlier, but I was a misspeak and I didn't mean to say that. PC gaming in and of itself is just, it's really good. And I like a lot of my indie games, and I like a lot of the games that I currently play. So, yeah. But we move on. Next up here is another one of those sorts of specific cuck jokes where Xbox is currently sitting in the chair while Halo is just making out with PlayStation, I guess. I always find this as a weird concept here, where it's like, oh yeah, they're giving away their games to the other platforms and stuff. So like, what about what Helldivers did it as well? Wouldn't the console war have ended more specifically there? You know, with Xbox kind of winning in that context. I mean, again, I think the only reason why the console war has continued to be perpetual is not because of the companies themselves, because the companies themselves have kind of made their decisions and been like, maybe we should make more money if we actually give our games to other platforms and stuff. But, I mean, again, I find it interesting how there hasn't been a lot of salt around this, despite the fact that there was massive amounts of salt, more or less, around, Helldivers coming to PlayStation. Or Helldivers coming to Xbox, I mean. But, yeah, kind of weird. Next up here we have No Eyes Fiend with if you told me 10 years ago that Xbox would off itself, Nintendo would F over the gamers endlessly, and Sony would win the console wars, I'd probably had believed you. I find it, again, very interesting how people say, again, that Sony, quote-unquote, wins the console wars again. Because the console wars used to be far more interesting, I guess, back in the day, but it became, like, not too many people doing it. And again, I mean, Nintendo effing over its customers endlessly, yeah, that could have been predicted, like the moon rising in the east or something. That's right, it doesn't rise in the east. I don't know what I'm saying half the time, but again, I mean, Nintendo effing over their customers, we could have most likely seen that coming as well with Xbox kind of not doing too hot, but I don't think they're going to end themselves with this. They're just kind of making really weird decisions because they're kind of in more or less survival mode right now, or at least it seems that way. So, Jonathan saying another with one of those he won things with, PlayStation fanboys always seeming to think that they need to win this console war thing. SuperTube Eddie with crazy to think that a tiny little moment caused the domino effect once again with PlayStation showing how you can quote-unquote share your games. This was basically just a meme advertisement that ended up happening. Now, I don't think that this was one of the most specific things that happened to it, but it can be traced, at least most of Xbox's troubles can be traced back to kind of this moment. The main reason as to why it can be traced back to that is because the Xbox One era kind of put Xbox into a very stupidly dumb position, and hence why, the whole this meme advertisement has been, used as this is when Xbox kind of went downhill, which isn't exactly wrong, but it's more or less the context surrounding this meme that actually makes it more sense. Next up here, we have the good old monkey's paw of rebuilt and modernized with the monkey's paw curling. Now again, to those people who might not understand, the monkey's paw is kind of like this little bit of a concept where when you make a wish, it kind of does like a very weird twist to that wish. The monkey's paw, again, is just one of those things where it's a literary device, pretty much. And it's supposedly a magic monkey's paw that makes all the wishes with the twist to them. So, again, that's just me explaining that. Now, I would like to see specifically more gameplay of this rebuilt and modernized Halo Evolved campaign. Because as of right now, we have seen some, and people are a little bit upset about it. I would more or less like to see how it plays, rather than people yelling and judging about it, being like, oh, the original was far more different because it had all this other stuff. So, yeah, I mean, again, I don't have too much of an opinion on this because I haven't really liked Halo specifically, personally. Even though, yes, I am a FPS guy, Halo Combat Evolved to me was more or less the kind of game that I would like to play with people and friends. Not a bad game. It's a fantastic, lovely, perfect game that actually does have some very good stuff to it. I just haven't played it in a while and haven't really been invested in the series, unlike some people here. Yanak saying, after knocking Sega out of the market, Jesus, you're digging deep for that. You're now won against Xbox. Congratulations. Your I don't know how you pronounce that. But someone decided to pick up a thesaurus today, apparently. Now, again, I find it weird how they say, oh yeah, after knocking Sega out of the markets, and then now with Xbox, you do realize that Sega, I think, dropped out during the 80s. I find it weird how you're, basically digging that deep to be like, oh, PlayStation wins all the time. Like, I know that in some cases, like, the 80s was different, and, different market share and stuff, and that it made more sense in that context. But saying that, like, they've quote-unquote beat Xbox, despite the fact that they've technically joined with Xbox because they, have their games on other platforms, which this is not the last time nor the first time that a game from a rival platform has actually come over to those platforms that were originally exclusive, or at least console exclusive. Because Xbox did it first, but then PlayStation also did it with Helldivers 2, and they saw pretty decent success there, so it's only inevitable that eventually they will possibly come to the other platforms. Maybe, but unsure. But, PlayStation's games are already all available, or most of them are, on the PC. It just kind of feels a little bit weird there. Mimetic Hazard here with the Ferris Bueller meme of this is over and it's time for you to get going. I mean, again, not wrong. The console wars have more or less been over for a lot of people because they just don't care about the actual, console wariness of it. It's really just very childish in my personal opinion, and quite honestly, while yeah, I was investing to it back in the good old days of me being 12, these 40-year-old guys are taking it a little bit too far in my personal opinion. Next up, and to kind of, get the little bit of the politicalness out of here, we're going to just blast through this because, quite honestly, this doesn't deserve any more attention than it's already gotten. One thing that you might need to see here is Homeland Security doing a finishing the fight with Destroy the Flood meme for Halo. But they're using it for people to join a specific group that I am not going to say. Now, again, I have seen a number of people's opinions about this, and, the knowing better here saying as long as Microsoft allows Halo to be used in advertising like this, fuck Halo. This got a lot of people riled up because, mainly, one of the big things is people that used this meme or that were talking about this meme talked about how they didn't want politics to be in their games. And personally, I am in 110% into that camp. I really don't like politics in my game, or at least real world politics. If you have like in-game politics of like different factions kind of warring at each other, that's cool and that's fine. That's why I think the Fallout series has been a fairly decent way of doing things. But overall, and again, one of the biggest things here is that this seems a little bit insensitive in my personal opinion. Again, this is quote-unquote destroying the flood, and it seems really kind of all the sorts of ists, and that's really all I have to say on it. Again, like I said, I'm not a politics guy, and I don't really like politics at all. But again, to blast through some of these other responses here, we have Grums here saying the entire U.S. government is now posting Halo and gaming memes with an AI-generated picture of Donald Trump in the Halo costume or Halo power armor. Holy shit. That is somehow even worse than the whole Destroy the Flood meme here. And to be quite honest, again, this is one of the reasons why whenever like a governmental body or a company starts to quote unquote meme, that the meme itself dies faster than anything else in the entire world. But next up here we have I think to kind of round this off, I think this is the last thing we have here, we have Pinana with an apologize, where the specific tweet, if I can zoom in on it there, saying, remember whenever you see a rightoid, Jesus, say, I just want to play video games, it's never even the good ones, always AAA, dude bro slop. They want to return not to the golden age of 1990 to 2006, but to COD zombies, saying that this person is just, they want to play video games with no government stuff inside of it, which again I find really, really dumb. How people continuously not only just put real world politics into video games, or use real world politics or use video games in real world politics, I should say, as sort of propaganda, as we have seen. This is just kind of gross and disgusting in my personal opinion. Video games are games, and they are meant to be an entertainment medium. They're not meant to kind of do messages unless you're trying to tell an interesting story within that game. Overall, this entire Halo thing has gone way over the top, and it's just so stupid in a lot of ways. Stupid in the same sense that it just basically pretty much just, I don't know how to describe it, and I don't really feel nice knowing that a governmental body tried to use the flood and to use Halo specifically as a way to try to recruit people, because I know that the America's Army did have their own video game at one point, but that was branded with the America's and the Army's actual, branding. This is not that. This is them using a marketable brand to try to, do that. And I know that propaganda and stuff like that exists, but Jesus Christ. Oh boy. But I think with all that Halo news out of the way, what did we learn today? Well, we learned that Halo is coming to PlayStation, and that has gotten some people's jimmies rustled, and also has been used for propaganda purposes, which is fucking annoying. With all that being said, if you like what it is that I do in some other way, shape, or form, I'd like and subscribe, which always enough. Links to everything in the description below. My name is GamPango21. I do stream every Sunday at 12 p.m. EST on YouTube and Twitch. I also release music sometimes. Be on the lookout for that. And check out the Bandcamp for Album 7, all singles in your area. I do have several other things that I'm working on, and I'm probably going to be slowing down videos going forward. Here's a little bit of the update as well. I have recently gotten a couple of editing jobs that are going to hopefully give me some income as well. So videos might start to slow down to just once a week, maybe twice a week if I can squeeze 2 things in. Unsure, but this week we're probably going to be having 2 different videos, and one that I need to work on, or at least talk about, because I have nearly tripled my hours in the game, and quite honestly, there is a couple things that I wanted to do that are more involved videos. So with all that being said, if you like what it is that I do, again, if you like and want to hear all that other stuff that I just said, like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. My name is GamPang21, and a peace.
Hey man, can I get a favor?